Harold Shipman was known to a lot of people. He worked as a family doctor in a small town for over 2 decades. He grew into a man whose face almost everyone recognized on the street. To say he had a dark secret was an understatement of the century. Because Harold Shipman, aka the Angel of Death, was not only Britain's most prolific killer, but he ranks among the most heinous criminals. He was born Harold Frederick Shipman on January 14, 1946, but to his friends, patients, and colleagues, he was simply known as Fred or Freddy. If we want to understand how someone became a killer, we might look to childhood traumas. What went wrong for young Freddy? His mother died when he was 17 years old. In interviews years later, his friends said that young Fred didn't talk much about his mother's battle with lung cancer and how he used to watch when the local doctor would come around to his house and relieve her pain with morphine. However, it is believed that young Fred was a very devoted son. But Shipman tried hard to please his mother, and she was very proud of her son. It was claimed that she pushed him too hard, and as a result, he became isolated from other children. His mother instilled in him a sense of superiority, but this would become a lifelong problem for Shipman, who may never be able to get his mother out of his head. Fred was determined to become a doctor, perhaps to please his mother, and with her painful, drawn-out death on his mind. He would devote his life to alleviating the suffering of others. But, as we will see, his method of treatment was, shall we say, excessive. Shipman attended Leeds University Medical School in the north of England and later completed hospital internships. He was one step closer to becoming a doctor and another step closer to becoming a serial killer. During this time, despite the fact that he was described as a loner, he met his future wife. When she became pregnant with their first child, he was 19 and she was 17. They would have 4 children in total. In 1974, he got his first job as a GP, or general practitioner. Shipman worked at a clinic in Todmorden, West Yorkshire, and while he appeared to be living the idyllic rural life, he was in fact forging prescriptions for the opioid pethidine, a type of prescription heroin. He was apprehended and released. But, after some rehabilitation, he was back in business. In 1977, he began working as a GP at the Donnybrook Medical Centre in Hyde, near Manchester. Linda Reynolds of the Brook Surgery in Hyde expressed concern to John Pollard, the coroner for the South Manchester district, about the high fatality rate among Shipman's patients. The investigation was called off on April 17 after police discovered insufficient evidence to press charges. Shipman murdered 3 more victims after the investigation was completed. In August, taxi driver John Shaw told authorities that he suspected Shipman of killing 21 patients. Despite appearing to be in good health, many of the elderly customers Shaw brought to the hospital died in Shipman's care. Shipman's final victim, Kathleen Grundy, was discovered dead at her home on June 24, 1998. He was the last person to see her alive, and he later signed her death certificate, stating that she died of old age. When solicitor Brian Burgess informed Grundy's daughter, lawyer Angela Woodruff, that a will had been drafted, ostensibly by her mother, she became concerned. Shipman received £386,000 while Woodruff and her children received nothing. On Burgess's advice, Woodruff approached the cops, who launched an investigation. Traces of diamorphine, a pain reliever commonly used in terminal cancer patients, were discovered in Grundy's body. Shipman claimed that Grundy was an addict, and he showed them notes from his computerized medical notebook to back up his claim. However, after an investigation, it was discovered that the will was written after her death, resulting in the arrest of the Shipman. Other fatalities were also investigated by the police. Shipman had certified and investigated 15 specimen instances. They discovered a pattern in which he administered lethal doses of diamorphine to individuals, signed their death certificates, and then altered medical records to make it appear as if they were sick. Shipman maintained his innocence throughout, disputing the scientific evidence against him. While his wife attempted to persuade people of his innocence, he never made any public statements about his actions. It was revealed that 500 people died during the 24 years Shipman had been caring for them. That report concluded that he had killed 218 people, but it is now believed that the number could be as high as 250. This is the reference number given in the sixth and final investigation and report. It was said that Shipman was a serial killer whose last victim would be himself. Shipman committed suicide in his cell at HM Prison Wakefield at 6:20 a.m. on the eve of his 58th birthday. He was pronounced dead at 8:10 a.m. He hanged himself from his cell window bars with his bed clothes, according to a statement from Her Majesty's Prison Service. In January 2001, Chris Gregg, a senior West Yorkshire police officer, was appointed to conduct an investigation into 22 West Yorkshire deaths. 76 following this, the Shipman inquiry, which was completed in July 2002, discovered that between 1975 and 1998, he killed at least 218 of his patients while practicing in Todmorden and Hyde. In 1977 to 1998, Dame Janet Smith, the judge who filed the findings, agreed that many more unsolved deaths could not be clearly linked to Shipman. Between 1971 and 1998, 459 people died under his care, though it's unclear how many of them were murder victims because he was sometimes the only doctor to certify a death. According to Smith, Shipman had 250 victims over a 27-year period.